When my college roommate disappeared, everyone thought she just ran away. But I know the truth, because even after she was gone, I could still hear her walking around our dorm room at night. My name is Rachel. This happened during my sophomore year at a university in Vermont. I was never the kind of person to believe in ghosts, the supernatural, or anything beyond logic. I always thought there was a rational explanation for everything. College, friends, deadlines, that was my world. But after that fall semester, my life was never the same. My roommate was a girl named Jessica. She was a little strange, I'll admit. She often stayed up late at night, sitting by the window, scribbling in this old leather journal she kept locked with a clasp. Sometimes she whispered to herself when she thought I was asleep. But she was friendly and we got along. She was my friend. One Friday night, Jessica said she was going to a party at a nearby campus. Everyone was getting ready to go out, music blasting, people laughing in the hallways. I remember her smiling as she put on her shoes. She looked at me and said, "Don't wait up, I might be back late." But she never came back. The next morning, her bed was untouched. On her desk lay her phone, her wallet, her student ID, even her favorite sweater. She had left everything behind, everything except herself. I reported it to the dorm staff and then to the police. That's when the real nightmare began. Campus security pulled the surveillance footage. At 10:47 p.m., Jessica was seen walking out of our dorm building. She walked down the alley toward the main road. And then, nothing. She never appeared on any other camera, not in the quad, not in the dining hall, not on the city streets. It was as if she had stepped off the earth itself. The police said maybe she got into a car, or maybe she ran away. But why would she leave without her phone, without money, without even her jacket? Something about it felt wrong. That night, I sat in our room staring at her empty bed, and for the first time, I felt like I wasn't alone. A few nights later, I woke up to the sound of footsteps. Soft, careful footsteps. They moved from Jessica's bed to her desk, then back again. Back and forth, back and forth. I told myself it was just a dream, but when I opened my eyes, the room was empty. I sat there frozen, my heart pounding in my chest, and that's when I felt it, a cold breeze on the back of my neck. The window was shut, but on my desk, there was a single sheet of paper, a sheet that hadn't been there before. Written in hurried, jagged letters were the words, "Don't look for me, they're here." It was Jessica's handwriting. I brought the note to the police. They told me it was probably a prank or worse, that I was imagining things from stress. But the next night, I woke up to a voice, a whisper, someone whispering my name. I turned my head, and there in the dark, I saw a shape, a shadowy figure standing right by Jessica's bed, staring at me. When I flicked on the light, it was gone. But her blanket, was rumpled, as if someone had just been lying there. I moved out of that dorm room a week later. I couldn't take it anymore. Jessica was never found. She's still listed as missing. No body, no clues, no explanation. But I know she didn't just disappear. She was taken. Taken by whoever or whatever she meant when she wrote, "They're here." And sometimes, late at night, I still hear those footsteps, even in my new room, even miles away from where she vanished. And I can't help but wonder, what if I'm next?
Everyone told me our town was safe. Nothing bad ever happened here. But when my brother vanished right in front of me at a bus stop, I realized safety was just an illusion. The strangest part, I still see the car that took him years later. My name is Daniel, and this is the story of how I lost my brother, Mark. He was only 15 when it happened. We lived in a quiet town in Pennsylvania, the kind of place where people waved at each other in the mornings, where kids biked down the street, and the worst crime was maybe a broken mailbox. We walked to the same bus stop every day, just a block from our house. That morning was no different. It was chilly, the kind of crisp fall air that made the leaves crunch under your shoes. We stood there joking, talking about nothing, homework, video games, girls, and then the car came. It was an old, beat-up blue sedan. It rolled to a stop right next to us. The window lowered just enough for the driver's voice to come through. A man's voice, calm, almost friendly. "Hey kid, you know the way to Fairview?" he asked. Mark leaned down toward the window. I remember every detail. His red hoodie, the way his breath fogged in the morning air. I was about to answer when the passenger door suddenly swung open. Mark stepped closer, and in the blink of an eye, he was gone. I swear to you, 1 second he was there, the next he wasn't. The car didn't drive off. It didn't speed away. It just vanished. I screamed. People came running from their houses. The police were called. They searched every road, every back alley, even the woods outside town. Nothing. The strangest part? No one else remembered seeing the car. Neighbors said they only heard me shouting. Some even claimed I was alone at the bus stop. But I know what I saw. That car was real.
Weeks went by. My parents barely spoke. His posters were everywhere, and I couldn't sleep. Every night I stared out the window, hoping, praying. And then, one night, I heard it. The rumble of an engine outside. When I looked out, my blood froze. The same blue sedan was parked across the street. Its headlights were on, but the inside was pitch black, like a void. I couldn't see the driver, but on the back seat, I saw Mark's backpack, the one he carried that morning. I ran outside barefoot, but the moment I stepped off the porch, the car was gone. No sound of tires, no taillights, just gone. I tried to convince myself it was grief, exhaustion, my mind playing tricks, but last month, standing at the same bus stop, I heard it again. The sound of that old engine, the crunch of tires on gravel. I turned, and for the briefest moment, I saw the sedan. The passenger door slowly opened, like it was waiting for me. And I swear, I heard my brother's voice whisper my name. They say people go missing every day. that most of the time there's a rational explanation. But not this time. Not for me. Because the car still comes back. And every time I hear that engine in the night, I wonder, is it calling me next?
If you ever hear someone calling your name in the woods at night, don't answer. I did once, and I lost one of my best friends forever. My name is Ryan. I'm 25 now, but what I'm about to share happened 3 years ago. To this day, it keeps me awake at night. Me and 3 friends, Mark, Jason, and Megan, decided to go hiking in the Appalachian Mountains. We weren't hardcore campers, but we loved the idea of spending a weekend away from civilization. The plan was simple: hike during the day, camp at night, laugh around the fire, drink, tell stories. On our second day, the weather turned bad. The trail became muddy and it started to drizzle. We were debating whether to turn back when Mark spotted something off the path, an old wooden cabin, half hidden by trees. At first, we thought it was abandoned. The roof sagged, the windows were cracked, but it looked like it could shelter us from the rain. We decided to stay there overnight. Inside, it was cold and smelled of damp wood. There were a few broken chairs, an old fireplace, and carvings scratched into the walls. Strange markings, circles, and words in a language none of us recognized. Jason laughed it off, saying it was just hillbilly graffiti. But the longer I stared at it, the more it made my skin crawl. That night, we spread our sleeping bags on the wooden floor. The storm outside grew worse. Rain hammering the roof, trees swaying, branches scraping against the cabin walls. I remember drifting in and out of sleep until a sound woke me. It was singing, a soft, feminine voice, just outside the cabin. The melody was strange, almost hypnotic, like a lullaby sung backwards. At first, I thought maybe Megan had wandered outside, but when I looked, she was sleeping right next to me. Still, when I peered through the cracked window, my heart nearly stopped. Standing just beyond the tree line was Megan, or something that looked exactly like her. Same long hair, same jacket, same face. She was standing perfectly still, her lips moving, singing that haunting melody. I froze. I didn't wake the others. I don't know why. Maybe part of me thought I was dreaming. Then Megan stirred. She sat up slowly, as if in a trance, and walked straight out the door. I snapped out of it and followed her, but the second I stepped outside, she was gone. No footprints in the mud, no sign of anyone, just the storm raging around me. When I ran back inside, Mark and Jason were awake, panicking. Megan's sleeping bag was empty. We searched the woods until sunrise, screaming her name, but it was useless. She had vanished without a trace. The police searched for weeks. They found nothing. No tracks, no clothing, no body, just an abandoned cabin with strange markings on its walls. The official report says Megan wandered off in the storm and got lost. But I know that isn't true, because sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I still hear that same melody, faint in the distance, as if calling me back to the woods. And every time, I wonder, if I follow it, will I see Megan again? Or whatever wore her face that night?